Is one of us a turkey? Am I a turkey? Am I a turkey in this scenario? This is the real story with Adam and Sherry. I'm Adam Hamalian,
And I'm Sherry Hutchens.
and this is where two broker associates with 35 years of combined experience in Contra Costa County talk about all things real estate. And we are recording this the week of Thanksgiving. It'll be posted on Thanksgiving. And if you are one of our diehard fans who listens to it right when it gets posted, we encourage you to hang out with your family this week. You can
Yeah,
listen to us tomorrow. Think of it as a a Black Friday sale, and listen to us
Black
while
flag.
you're waiting in line to get that Samsung TV at Best Buy.
Uh-huh.
All right, Sherry, how are we doing?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. It's been a wet week or so. But
Yes,
we had
very.
a client party last week and the rain stopped just in time for that. So that was good news. Did you have a good time at the
Oh,
party?
that was so fun. I mean, it was a whirlwind of, 2 hours of people coming to pick up pies. We had about 45 pies and held it in your backyard, which was just amazing. It's such a beautiful backyard. And it was light for part of it. We started at 4 o'clock. And then it started to get dark and the light, you had the lights come on. It was just beautiful back there. I think our clients had a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah, you did a great job with the charcuterie cups. I thought that was an
Thank
excellent choice, and I think our clients like that. Um,
thank you. They were so much fun to make.
Yeah. Well, one of the fun things for you, not for me necessarily, is you get to use your crafting gene to do things like that as well as some
Yep.
of the Popeyes. I don't have that gene, so I'm happy to do the other parts of it. So,
Well, I don't know. You made truffles with me last year and you did a great job with that.
yeah, well, that I was a sous chef. That's a whole different scenario. It's stand here, do this, stir this, pour this.
Well, you're really good at it.
I've learned to follow orders well. Well, sometimes I follow orders well.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Well, boy, this time of the year, the market tends to just come to a screeching halt as everybody turns their eyes and ears and hearts to the holidays, regardless of whether you're Native American, native to America, or whatever religion. And it's just a fun way to spend time with family. So we're going to reflect a little bit on Thanksgiving today. But
Yes.
before we do that, any market details you think it'd be good to share with everybody?
Yes. Even though it usually slows down long before Thanksgiving, we've been fairly busy. We had three closings in the last week or week and a half, so that's a good thing. But we are now officially unemployed. And when we say unemployed, it means we don't have any active escrows. Well, let me correct that. We have one that we can't close because of, circumstances that we won't discuss on the podcast, but
Yeah.
hopefully it will close someday. But I was just out of curiosity starting to look at some numbers to see what our year looked like because it's been slower than normal. And by slower, I want to say real or clarify that we've got lots of buyers and we can't find houses for them. And I say that every week. And I'm sorry if you guys are tired of hearing me say that, but let me give you an example of what that actually looks like. I pulled numbers just for Walnut Creek. So that's where we both live and it's the center of our business. And this is going to probably kind of surprise you. Guess how many homes sold in 2020 in Walnut Creek?
In
Closed
2020
escrow
during COVID. All right.
during COVID, and we were kind of dead in the water for about 2 months.
Yeah, so like a 9 month year. So I don't know, maybe in Walnut Creek, maybe 600.
2,742
Just in Walnut Creek?
just in Walnut Creek in 2020.
Oh my goodness. That's
And guess
crazy.
how many have closed this year?
Well, I'll say 1200.
385.
What? 385. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. We closed 756 last year just in Walnut Creek, 385 this year, which is almost half from last year, but over 2,700 homes in 2020. But you know what the funny thing is about all that? Prices have, I mean, they've skyrocketed since 2020, but last year the average sales price was 1,654,000. average sales price, Walnut Creek. Average sales price this year is 1,678,000.
Oh, really flat.
Flat, slightly up,
Yeah.
but number of homes sold is down by half. So we all know the reason, or we think we know the reason for why homes aren't selling.
Yeah. Interest rates.
Yeah.
Well, I would say a couple things. Interest rates and a little bit of inflation is mixed in there. I
Mhm,
think people are a little bit more cautious with their pocketbook and not
mhm,
extending themselves. And so
mhm.
their um their monthly budget, housing budget has been constrained on both ends. They can buy less on the same amount of money, and they might in their own personal budgets have less available to it
Yeah.
to well, I'm not sure what to make with that news. Hopefully looking into 2025, the market will loosen up and shake free. I mean, you've heard me say it before. I also think that we oversold for a couple years, that
Mhm,
if we were going to say so many X number of people sell every year because of children, marriages,
mhm.
divorces, deaths,
Yeah.
um, all of that, there's kind of a natural cycle to the human experience and a
Yeah.
life cycle of a neighborhood. And we poured gasoline on it for a couple years and burned the fire out. It's like a backfire when they're trying to fight a big wildfire.
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of in the backside of that where all the people that were going to make moves made them a little earlier than they normally do. So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh
Well, when people were stuck at home, for gosh, it seems like it was almost 2 years, lightened up a little bit towards the end of that, but it really hit home, so to speak, about what kind of home they wanted to live in. Was it too small? Was it, too big? Was there an opportunity to make a move? And I think a lot of people jumped on it, you know.
yeah,
Uh, so anyway, we need houses, and it's hard to talk people into selling when they've got 3% interest rates because,
yeah,
record
we
interest.
don't spend much energy telling people they ought to move.
No,
That's
we
yeah.
wish,
We
but
wish that
yeah,
they
our buyers wish. So,
yeah.
but slowly but surely, we will find homes for them.
All right. Well, here we are in Thanksgiving week. Let's turn
Mhm.
to our topic of the day. And
Yeah,
there's a couple things that are interesting, I think, to talk about from the perspective of housing and Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Obviously, we should be full of gratitude, and we can touch on that near the end. But there's one thing that's kind of interesting, I think, when we show homes that buyers have a different perspective on this, maybe than their parents, maybe
Mhm.
than another generation, or maybe even in a different part of the country, and that is a formal dining room.
Yep.
When's the last time, I wouldn't shouldn't say that because the last time is now, but how often do we have clients that are looking for a formal dining room? Just I'll start with that. What do you think?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't really know. I haven't counted, but
Maybe 10% of the time. It's not very high. Most people don't care about them. We always ask,
yep,
because it is an important question because not all homes have them. Older homes generally do, newer homes don't because they just aren't used that much. But maybe 10% of the time, maybe 20, somewhere around
yeah.
there.
And if they do ask for a formal dining room, this is the week of the year that they're going to use it for
Yep.
Thanksgiving
Yep.
and
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
maybe Christmas, maybe Easter.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically the Thanksgiving table is usually the biggest. Um, And I think that's interesting. What people who don't have a formal dining room, what do you think they're doing? Are they just setting, do they have a larger table in a great room, or are they doing multiple tables? What do you think?
I don't know. I, I, I think that they're probably making do with what they've got. I mean, I don't really have a formal dining room, but if I wanted to, like I had a big party before COVID, my annual crab party to celebrate start of Dungeness crab season and Christmas. And I just rented tables and added them on to my existing dining room table, which luckily I had space to do that and
Yep.
kind of created a dining room.
Yeah.
But I guess people just figure it out. Maybe they, set up tables. I've seen people set up tables in living rooms,
Yep.
rent tables, rent chairs, and just make the best of what they got, you know.
My grandmother, most of my childhood was the one who hosted all the major holidays,
Uh-huh.
and she had a formal dining room, and I that table I think could seat 12.
Wow.
Yeah, when it was fully extended, and the room could handle that many people. It was
Yeah.
it was pretty big. I do have this one memory of a um, family reunion type meal with the extended Hamalian and Beloyan families. And my grandfather set up an extended table in the garage. I think he might have borrowed some banquet tables from church and put them
Uh-huh.
end to end and got butcher paper and covered them with butcher paper. And I think we had 23, then I don't know why the number 23 sticks in my head, but I think we had 23 people at that table.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a lot of fun. It wasn't the best meal because it was in the garage and you could smell the gas from the lawnmower. And I could just remember that, like, obviously I was young and I was listening, watching aunts and uncles and
Yeah.
cousins all laughing, and it was just such a great party to be together.
Yeah. Who cares
Um,
about the smell of gas?
yeah, yeah. I can only imagine what my grandmother thought. It's like, okay, I guess we're together, but um,
We
that
would go up to my aunt's house in Petaluma, and she had a little tiny house. I was up in Petaluma not too long ago, and I almost drove by to see what the house looks like because she and my uncle are long gone. But I mean, my mom came from a huge family, and all of the girls in my mom's family moved from North Dakota to California, and every holiday, everybody would get together. And we had four kids, and we were one of the smaller families. A lot of my aunts had, six or seven kids, and the place was packed.
yeah,
And there were people sitting in the eat-in kitchen, and there were people sitting in chairs in living rooms. There were people, I mean, all and in the garage. They would set up tables in the garage, and people would eat out there. We didn't eat together because there wasn't room to do
yeah,
it, but it was a big old party,
yeah,
and we figured it out. There was, I don't know. I guess she was ahead of her time in not having a formal dining room, but the new thing nowadays is for people to have a huge island,
mm,
and a lot of people eat their meals sitting at an island,
yeah.
you know?
My sister-in-law and her husband in San Luis Obispo, they have a really large island. They don't actually have a breakfast table or dining room table.
Oh, yeah.
They only have this huge island that's probably 6 feet by 10 feet, maybe. And
Wow.
so breakfast or bar stools all along one side and one end, so they could,
Yep.
it's a family of five, and they probably could sit seven or maybe even eight people at that island. They also, because San Luis Obispo is such great weather, they eat a lot of their meals on an outside patio table.
Yeah. Well,
So
we
it's
can do that here as well most of the year.
yeah,
When it goes into rainy season, it's a little hard to do that, but
yeah,
it's just more casual here, probably more so here than any other parts of the country.
yeah. You were talking about larger families on another little tangent. You may know that my mom's grandmother was last name was Barnes, and my grandmother had, I think, 13 brothers and sisters. I think she was one of 13.
Oh my gosh.
And this is in the Midwest 100 years ago,
Yeah.
actually now more like, 130 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
So, you birth your own farm crew, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, preventing pregnancy was a whole different conversation. So we won't talk about that at the moment.
Yes,
But
and the
she would
more
they
kids you had, the fewer farm hands you had to hire,
yeah.
right?
But so she would go to, into town to the general store, presumably like once a month. And
Mhm.
the general storekeeper would ask, this is the story goes, which is, three generations removed. Hello, Mrs. Barnes. How's Mr. Barnes and all the little sheds? It's like,
Very clever.
I know, right? This is where I get my goofy humor from. I can't help it.
Exactly. It came
I,
right down through the gene pool.
and I will repeat that little silly joke for the rest of my life,
And I will laugh at it every time because it
even
is.
though yeah, even though my grandmother passed away when I was like 8. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, so it's been 50 years. But anyway, um, All
Yeah,
right, well, let's talk about Thanksgiving meal then. So we've
yes,
decided where we might sit, whether it's in a formal dining room or
yep,
scattered throughout the house. What are
yep.
some of the Sherry Hutchens' favorite Thanksgiving dishes, either that you prepared or that you've had at family or friends' houses?
All right, so I'm the problem child in the family because I don't like to cook the same thing every year or every meal. And you know that Thanksgiving is all about tradition, and you make the same everything, the same meal every year because that's what people are expecting. And so for many years, my mom was the cook, and when she got older and just didn't feel like doing it anymore, I took it over, and I initially did her recipes. I did it for, her recipes for a couple of years, and everybody seemed fine. And then I got bored with it. And one year I broke out the cornbread dressing with jalapenos and cranberries. And you would have thought there was a revolt in my family because you do not serve cornbread dressing with jalapenos for Thanksgiving. That does not work. And everything else I tried. And every year as we would get closer to Thanksgiving, they were like, okay, or they, my family would say, you're just gonna make grandma's dressing, right? And it was like, okay, I'll make grandma's dressing. No jalapenos, I promise. But if it were completely up to me, and I guess it is now, I would just do whatever I want.
Well,
You
there you
know?
go. All right. So
So
jalapeno, well, I'm sorry, was it jalapeno dressing or jalapeno cornbread? What did you just say?
it was cornbread dressing with jalapenos and cranberries.
Okay, jalapeno, I'm sorry, cornbread dressing. So you cut it up into little cubes and baked it all together.
Yep, yep.
All right.
Stuff the bird with it the whole 9 yards.
All
So
right. Do you stuff the bird or you cook it separately?
I do both. I would stuff the bird, even though you're really not supposed to. Even people have been doing it for hundreds of years, heaven forbid. And then whatever was left over went into a dish.
All right. Okay.
One year I made stuffing muffins. Have you ever had those?
No.
Yeah,
Tell me
you
about
take the
that.
stuffing and you take an ice cream scoop and you put it into muffin tins and you make stuffing muffins. They're really good.
Interesting. All right.
So, what about you? I know you don't probably cook Thanksgiving, although you do know how to cook.
So right. So I'm less of the cook and more of the I will eat what graciously whatever's put on the table. Um there's some foods that are like, marshmallow toast covered sweet potatoes. I mean, like does that even count as nutrition? It's like, here, have some candy, and we're
Sweet
gonna put
potatoes are good for
sugar,
you.
we're gonna put jet puff sugar on top and then toast it, and then we're gonna call that a nutritious meal. So I feel guilty about it. No, I don't. But
Oh, I love sweet potatoes with marshmallow topping.
yeah. Um,
How about
I
green bean casserole? Do you guys do green bean casserole?
that may get made. I wouldn't say that I would ask for that, but
No.
I eat it graciously because it's
Yeah,
about
it's
the only green thing near me that I'll eat on Thanksgiving. I prefer
whatever.
white meat over dark meat.
Okay, all right.
Um, my I prefer stuffing over mashed potatoes, but
Mm.
um, the Melissa does make some really good mashed potatoes. My brother-in-law really likes mashed potatoes, and he will take that over and like it's got to be exactly the way he remembers it as a childhood. And it's one of those things where one less dish to worry about because my brother-in-law's got it taken care of.
Oh, interesting. I wonder what he does that's different.
Don't ask. So the and then um for whatever reason, at some point, it didn't happen like for the last 20 years. When I was younger, there would always be a canned shape cranberry jelly relish served, and it was served in a dish exactly in the shape of the can that it came out of. Can you picture what
Yes.
I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, that's how we had ours.
So not
Yeah,
cranberry, not really cranberries, but cranberry jelly.
yeah,
And
you're talking about the stuff that you open both ends of the can,
yep.
and made
And
by the same people who make the cranberries that you buy,
yes,
well,
ocean
and you
spray. Yeah.
just,
Please don't
and it
make the
makes that
sound.
sound.
Please don't make the sound of it coming out of the can. I know the sound. Everyone listening knows the sound. We don't want to hear the sound of the cranberry coming out.
Okay, no
Um,
sound. But it doesn't
and
make consistency
Uh,
is just gross.
yeah, and I do like stuffing. So I think did I say that already?
Yeah.
Stuffing over potatoes.
So I like regular cranberry sauce that you make, that you cook in the stove on a stove. Maybe put a little bit of orange juice in it, maybe some
Yes,
orange peel. Not too sweet. It needs to be a little tart to offset all the carbs that are sitting on
yes,
the table.
yeah, oh yes, please, yeah, absolutely.
How about leftovers? How do you make your leftovers? Like, what's your
Um,
perfect turkey sandwich the next day?
yeah, I'm not sure. I will put the turkey on a plate and whatever I think will moisten it up enough the next day. So that might be gravy, it might be the cranberry.
Mhm.
Um, um, yeah, just something that's gonna keep it from being too dry the
You
second
try.
day and microwave that. I'm not so big fan on the sandwich because they typically were cutting the turkey too thick to be a good
Oh,
sandwich.
yeah.
Mm,
I like the a turkey sandwich with stuffing on it because why
yeah,
not put stuffing in between two slices of bread?
absolutely. Yeah, right.
Well,
Bread on bread. That sounds good to me.
yeah. I draw the line at putting mashed potatoes on the on a turkey sandwich, but cranberries and gravy and yum. It's all good.
Any cooking fiascos on Thanksgiving?
1 year I bought too big of a turkey and I didn't start defrosting it early enough. And it might have been a little frozen inside when the outside was temping as done.
Yeah.
And I had nightmares for a couple nights before Thanksgiving that it was so big it wasn't going to fit in my 27-inch oven.
Yes.
I had one of those little ovens, but I got it in there. And the part that was cooked was really good, and the part that was still frozen, lessons learned.
Yikes. All right.
Yeah. Bigger is not always better.
Um, well,
So I,
let's talk. Well, actually, let me to one recipe that we use regularly. And we don't just do it for the turkey. We'll do it other times with chicken throughout the year to barbecue, but you have to brine the turkey overnight. So
so wet brine or dry brine?
a wet brine,
Okay.
and by it being soaking, a couple things, it helps facilitate the final little bit of defrosting.
Yeah.
And as it's doing that, it's absorbing as much of that salty water as it can so that when
Yeah.
it's roasting, it is as moist as it can get. And I think that
Yeah.
that really helps when you get to the end of the roast, it's not drying out because it's got all that salty brine all infused in every little nook and cranny. So um
So you don't spatchcock your turkey.
I don't even know what that means.
When you cut the backbone out and flatten it,
Oh, no, I've done that with a chicken, but never with a turkey.
yeah, it's hard to do it with a turkey because that backbone is, a regular poultry shears is not going to cut through it.
No,
You might have
no.
the power tools that could do it, but yeah, you have to have a butcher do it.
What do you mean I might have the power tools? Of course I have the power tools, Sherry.
Okay, I know where to go when I need my turkey
Skill
spatchcock.
saw, sawzall, jigsaw, spiral saw, oscillating saw, back saw. Come on now.
I didn't know there were that many saws.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
just getting started.
Someone gave me a hacksaw once because he asked if I had a hacksaw, and when I said no, he was aghast. And so the next time I saw him, he gave me a hacksaw, but it's like this big, and it would not cut through the backbone of a turkey. So
Eventually, maybe.
I know who to come to when I need a saw.
Of course,
Right.
I'm your guy. All right. Well,
So,
let's t so one time, the only cooking fiasco I can remember when we first we redid our kitchen and we put in double ovens, and we had not used this one feature before, which had a thermometer probe that you
oh,
put into the meat, and it was tied to the oven, and it was malfunctioning. We either it might have been user error. I'm not 100% sure, but it read that the turkey had reached the right temperature and turned
oh
the
no.
oven off automatically. And
Oh no.
so who knows how soon that happened, but like 2 hours later, we're like, well, let's check on it. It's been about 3 hours, whatever it is, and we checked on it, and the oven is cold, and the turkey is.
Oh no.
So that was that. Yeah, that was bad.
Yikes.
And that was
I've never heard
pre-brining.
of
So
that
by the
feature.
time that got cooked, it was dried out like nobody's business.
What time was dinner? Like 10 o'clock at night?
I don't remember. It wasn't pretty.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of that feature, and there's probably a good reason why.
Yeah. Well, it we've had it work a couple times perfectly. Like it's just it measures the inside of a big roast, and you have that as an automatic. You can see what the temperature of the roast is and kind of monitoring
Mhm.
it, and it's but most of the time it's registering too easily the temperature of the oven rather than what the end of the probe that's actually in the meat. So I'm not sure
Hmm,
what the story is with that.
hmm, hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
So let's talk about ovens then. You mentioned a
Let's.
27-inch oven.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, Before our remodel, we had a single wall oven, which was, I believe, a 24-inch, and that was really, we never cooked a turkey in that. It was, we were
No,
always
you
guests
barely
at my
put
mom's
chicken in
house
there.
during those early years. So when we replaced it with two 30-inch wall ovens,
Love it.
and those are really nice. Um, but let's talk a little bit about gas or electric. So whether you have a oven, a wall oven, or all-in-one range unit, Sherry, do you prefer electric ovens or gas ovens?
100% gas. It's got to be gas.
Gas ovens? I thought you were going to say
Okay, so,
electric.
oh, hold on. Gas stove. I mean, I have a range. I don't have a wall oven, although I would love two wall ovens like you've got. But no, I've got a range. It's gas. It is a gas cooktop and a gas oven,
Okay.
although I'm a baker and bakers want consistent heat. And ideally, you should have a gas cooktop and an electric oven. It's called a dual fuel. I do not have that, but I should have that.
That's interesting. Okay, so tell me, let's start with the range top first being gas. Like
Mhm. Yep.
what's the advantage? So what are the options? It could be gas, it could be electric, or it could be induction.
Induction, yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference between those three?
So I think people like gas stoves because you have more control. When you turn something off, it's off. You don't, it
Yeah.
does like an electric cooktop where it has to cool off and it continues to heat the pan unless you remove it from the burner. Gas, you turn it on, you turn it off, it's off. And that's actually the same with induction, although
Yeah.
you have that
So you
special.
want to you bring it to a boil and you want to bring it down to a simmer. You can
Mhm.
control that pretty instantly rather than waiting for the electric element to de-electrify and
Yeah,
then come to the right temperature. You got to play with it a little bit, and it's a little
yeah,
easier with just the gas. All right.
yeah. But I hear, and you probably know more about this than I do, that state of California might be outlawing gas stoves. Is that true?
Well, that's really interesting because that was something that came out here a little while ago. And sometimes you got to dig deeper than the headline because the headline said
Oh,
gas stoves, gas appliances in kitchens were going
mhm.
to be banned starting January 2025.
Oh no.
Yeah, or January 2025 for new construction and January 2026 for any new purchases in stores in
Oh
California.
no.
But when you dig a little deeper past that headline, the law actually stipulates not that it can't be sold at all, but if it is sold, it has to have a warning label on it. And it's
Oh,
like, what kind of warning label? Like, is
yeah.
it because it's a gas appliance? Are we talking carbon monoxide? We have requirements for carbon monoxide in homes because of
Yeah.
furnaces and water
Yeah.
heaters. And
Yeah.
technically, that's what a gas range would be doing the same thing. No, that's not it. It's actually talking about the law came in the consideration because of the way that the essentially air pollution that it puts off exacerbates asthma and other childhood respiratory problems. So it's
Oh,
not so much
interesting.
an issue apparently with fully developed lungs in adults. It's primarily thinking about children and how it affects them.
Yeah.
So the good news is you can still buy one. The not necessarily bad news, but just the also news is that there'll be a label on gas stoves that warn you about it can cause respiratory irritations.
All right, good. So when my gas stove wears out someday, I can get another one.
That's right. And there is
Oh,
just while we're on it briefly, there is a consideration of a bill that's going to ban gas heaters and water heaters
oh,
in
interesting.
new
Okay.
construction. And it's unclear to me whether it's for those same reasons or not, or whether it's an effort to move California away from natural gas, adding to the natural gas loads, and pushing us more towards electric use. I'm not
Well, I
sure.
guess as more people continue to install solar, it makes sense to have more electric appliances because then, you're making use of your solar.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So tell me about induction. I don't really understand how induction works. I hear some people absolutely swear by it. They love it.
Yeah.
And I don't hear anyone that doesn't like it. I only hear people like me like, I don't understand.
Yep.
Where are my
I
power saws?
Exactly. I probably don't know as much as I should know about it. But I know you have to have a certain type of cookware, like my all-clad cookware would work on it. You can't use cast iron on it. There's something about metal to the cooktop that is a necessity to make it work. You can turn induction on high and you can put your hand on top of the burner and you can't feel anything. It only works when there's metal on it. I should be more up to speed on this, but I'm told that you can boil water in a minute, for example. I mean,
Nice. All
it's
right.
immediate. And I don't know if you know, we sold a house that had, the sellers had installed, induction in their kitchen when they remodeled it. And the people who bought it were from Europe. And the first thing they did was rip it out and put it
Yikes.
in something else. Yeah. That was an
What about,
expensive stove, but they just like didn't want induction. They wanted like who knows, maybe they put gas in.
yeah.
But yeah, I think if gas is ever really outlawed, not just having a warning label, that maybe people will switch over to induction. Because when you think about like Chinese restaurants, they run very high BTUs, much higher than what we're allowed to run in a kitchen. And if they ever outlaw gas stoves, I don't know how we're going to get Chinese food, but maybe induction would work there. Who knows?
Well, probably there's no children in a Chinese kitchen. Just
Hopefully not.
hopefully not. Yeah. Um, all right, so let's move to the oven. And
Yeah.
did you already mention that oven about why electric over gas? Maybe you did.
Well, dual fuel, when you have an electric oven, even though you've got a gas cooktop, gas is inconsistent in an oven. It cycles on and off to maintain the temperature. But when you're baking, you want consistent heat, not cycling on and off, so that your baked goods come out baked properly. And so electricity is the way to go when it comes to ovens.
So we have an electric wall oven that's has a convection setting.
Oh,
And,
nice.
and so my perception is that it's circulating. There's a fan that comes on that circulates the hot air to keep it so there's
Mhm.
not like a hot corner or a hot center of the oven box, but that it's evenly cooking throughout the whole oven. And the in the our particular unit, I guess there's a couple different kinds of convection. Some just have the fan that circulates the air. Ours apparently heats the air as it goes through the fan system, so that
Oh, nice.
in addition to the burner within the heating box, it's also reheating that air. That air is going across the coil before it comes back in, so you're not blowing. I mean, I can't imagine the difference in temperature is going to be that great. But
No, I
anyway,
thought the
there
purpose of convection was just to circulate the heat so
yeah,
it's nice and even. I have one
something.
as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I may not understand it at all. The
I
kitchen is
also
not
have
my
a
domain.
pardon, and no, it's
Like,
not your domain.
yeah.
I have a proofing setting on my oven as well. So if I want to make bread and it's not
Yeah.
in the winter when it's not warm enough in your house to proof your bread, you can put it in the oven on a proofing. That's probably pretty standard nowadays, but the funny thing is, I don't use my oven that much. I use a one of those oversized toaster ovens that everybody's got. That's,
Yes.
a toaster setting, a bagel setting, a pizza setting. Mine has convection.
Air fryer.
It's got an air fryer, and there's a model. I don't have it, but it's the same brand, maybe the same one that you have. Sits on the countertop. It's kind of oversized, and one of the newer models has a dehydrator in it.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Huh.
I mean, it's really kind of an ingenious thing to have one oven that sits on the countertop that does not heat up your kitchen. It can do 8 or 10 different things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't have to heat up the whole oven to do something that just needs to be grilled or a
yeah,
smaller single meal for one person for your
yeah.
lunch, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, things have really changed. I mean, from dining rooms and homes so that everybody could sit around the table at night, like we did, and I'm sure you did as well, to, eating around an island. And then instead of having, turning on a big oven, using a toaster oven. I mean, I can put a 12-inch pizza in my toaster oven. It's
Nice.
interesting how things have really changed.
Yeah. All right, before we get to what we're thankful for, let's talk about dessert. We didn't talk about that earlier.
Yes.
I uh, so my family of origin, we always had a custard pumpkin pie, but my uncle loves chiffon pumpkin pie, and so my aunt would always bake a second pie just so that he could have a chiffon pumpkin. Um,
Oh,
but
interesting. I don't think I know the difference.
yeah, so it's so that you can picture what a traditional custard type pumpkin pie looks like. So the chiffon, I think, has some more cream whipped into it, and it's
Okay.
if the far end would be like a cream pie. This is not all the way to a cream pie. It's not quite that light, but it's in that direction.
Mhm.
But
The same. Sorry, go
how
ahead.
about you? What kind of pie would you want for Thanksgiving?
Well, I have a couple thoughts. The same year that I did the cornbread jalapeno stuffing, I nixed the pumpkin pie and made a pumpkin bourbon cheesecake, which was,
Oh, that sounds delicious.
I thought it was delicious, but it wasn't pumpkin pie. And my family, they are traditionalists. So, um, and the other night when we had our pie party, oddly enough, the most ordered pie um, from our clients was boysenberry.
Yes, yes.
I don't get it. I do not get it.
You don't like berry pie?
I like it, but it's not Thanksgiving, you know?
You know, most of those people are eating that pie this last weekend. They weren't saving it for next Thursday.
They're preloading for the
Exactly. They got to
holiday.
stretch their pie gene out.
Yeah. So my favorite holiday pie is pecan.
All right.
Yeah, if it has a little bit of chocolate in it, I won't complain. Or a
Oh
little
yeah,
of
very good.
bourbon. Yeah, or rum, dark rum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not traditional about things like that. I mean, pumpkin pie is fine.
I think pecan pie is pretty traditional. I mean,
Yeah,
my mother-in-law, that was the pie that she would make would be I mean, she didn't like baking cakes, but she made pies
yeah,
and she was a daughter of the South, and so a pecan pie
yeah.
definitely on the menu.
A couple of
Um,
weeks ago, we were having a potluck for Halloween, and I made a pumpkin tiramisu, which I did not take to the office because it was so fragile. I couldn't get it to the office. And so I wrapped it up and put it in the freezer, and I may break that out for Thanksgiving this year.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So,
All right. Well, as we
yay.
finish up, maybe we could do some things that we're thankful for. Ironically, we didn't even talk about this, which it totally makes sense that we were going to do it. So I don't really know for sure what I'm going to say. If you know what you're thankful for, feel free to jump in as I process. But
Mhm.
of course, I'm thankful for our partnership.
Me
It
too.
definitely makes real estate a whole lot of fun,
Yes.
not to mention successful. But
Yes.
there's you can win the day but lose your life. Too busy making a life than living a life, and I guess getting to do business with you is a little bit of doing both at the same time. So I'm
Yeah.
tremendously grateful for you.
And you as well. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm
You're
grateful.
you're welcome. We both last year lost our mothers, and
Yeah.
while neither one of them had been cooking Thanksgiving meal for a long time, I am thankful for the rest of my family and the way that in the absence of my mom, between my family, my adult children, my brother,
Yeah.
just we're all taking on new roles
Yeah,
with
things
my
change.
mom's absence, and um, I can't say that things are stable is not the right word, but we haven't settled into whatever the new is. But I
Mhm.
know the people I'm doing the traveling with, and so I'm grateful for that. Makes life a little bit easier to deal with the loss.
Yeah. Yes.
How about you?
I think that I just realized as you were talking about that, that I may have become the matriarch of the family. I'm the
Mm,
oldest child, the oldest daughter, and of course, my mom is gone. And so that makes me feel a little old.
mhm.
But I'm grateful for a wonderful family and for my health and for a great network of friends and being here to celebrate the holidays.
Yep.
It makes life meaningful. I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. And we'd be remiss if we weren't thankful for all of our clients, all the people that chose to trust us. We wouldn't get to
Right,
do what we do without all of you.
right.
Of course, it's our living, but getting to make a difference in people's lives, helping them find the right house or sell a house so they can go start the next chapter.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's helping people unwind their parents' estate. And those are all sacred spaces to be in that makes life meaningful, and it's not
yeah,
just going to do a job. We, like Sherry and I often say, if you've been listening to us, we could make a living doing a lot of different things. But one of the things that we love about being in real estate is actually getting to be involved in your lives
yeah.
in a way that hopefully makes it better. And we get to be co-travelers pretty intently for a short period of time. But we hope that that journey doesn't end as soon as whatever the transaction is, and that we get to stay involved and hear your stories as life goes by.
Absolutely. That's the goal, always.
All right. Any other thoughts before we sign off?
No, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I
You,
think, yeah.
you too. Happy Thanksgiving, Sherry, and happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving to all of you. Um, I feel almost cheesy in saying it at this moment, but if you like their podcast, be sure to subscribe and like it and refer us to your to your family and friends. Um, whether you want to do real estate with us or not, we hope that you have a blessed day with family and friends and people that you're close to,
Yeah,
and that you're reminded about all of the good things in life that you have and the things that you hope for.
absolutely. Thank you, Adam.
All right. Bye now, everybody.
Bye, everybody.